Hello everybody on a lovely sunny afternoon in Marrakesh. I'm finding this video quite hard to make, so I hope you'll bear with me. And if I go on for a while, please bear with me also. It's just a year since I went online and expressed huge concern as I didn't know how we were going to survive as the pandemic had arrived and the borders were being closed down. And for the last year, we haven't had tourists, we haven't had visitors of note, we haven't been able to open our cafe facilities, and the donkeys have missed seeing people. And it's been a tough year. I would be stupid if I said otherwise. Our numbers of animals have doubled. We have taken horses in distress. We are having to expand. And I am so grateful for everyone who supported us through that very difficult process. But it would be quite wrong of me to say to you, everything has been rosy. We are privileged and lucky to have survived in the current climate. Some things happened during the year. We lost our manager in fairly devastating circumstances, and Ayoub and Simo had to step up and take control, which they did magnificently. And I am so indebted to all the staff here who every day do their very best by the animals that we care for. And also they do their very best by their own families as well. And just very briefly, let me tell you that last evening I had a phone call quite late about a horse that had collapsed in Marrakesh in the middle of the road and no one could move it. And we couldn't get hold of a vet. It was Saturday evening. Both my boys who drive the truck and maybe could have helped were playing football, and I left messages for them. But in the meantime, I want to say that two very good friends of ours who saw this horse were absolutely magnificent. They organised straps and locals to get the horse on its feet. I think it had a urinal blockage, and I think that was resolved to some extent, and the horse was walked back to its home and to its stable. And we have said if there's anything else we can do to help, of course we will. And I was in touch with Spanner and they have said the same. Both my joint managers, and I call them my boys because that's what they are to me, they came after they'd played football to apologise for not being able to have taken the phone calls and see what they could do. They would have gone out there and then, but there was very little point at that stage. And that just shows the dedication that they all have to Jardjier. And of that, I am really proud. This is Moroccans on the ground, working for Morocco, the reputation of Morocco, and they have performed, in my eyes, miracles. However, we always have hitches along the way, and I'm sure you'll understand that. We have a charity in England and a charity here. The charity here, we have to have Moroccan trustees. They are not our staff. And the trustees we've had, I think quite rightly, feel very bad that they feel that Charles and I have made the decisions along with our secretary and they've been excluded. I understand that, but of course you have to remember it is our land, it is our resources that went in initially. And I would say to Moroccans who take that view, if you felt so strongly about it, why didn't you do it before? But perhaps I'll leave that for the moment. The other thing that's just a little bit concerning is throughout the last 5 years, we've only ever had one bad review. And folk, you can find that review on our Google reviews. And it was made by somebody who, would you believe it, was our architect. The architect who designed our home when we first came, and probably thought he was going to design, or he did, we just didn't go ahead with it, other villas and a hotel. We ran a donkey refuge instead. And he came down recently to look at some land opposite to ours that he owned, and there is a land dispute between us. And I'm not going to bore you with the details of that, but he happened to post a very, very negative review. The first review we've ever had. He never visited the refuge. He doesn't give a jot about donkeys. And I have made a complaint to Google, and I hope that they will deal with it. because I want to say to you and every one of you who have supported me, I try to be charming to everybody who visits. I'm not always the easiest person in the world, because if you do this work, it is tough and you have to be tough. And at times I act tough. But we have always tried to welcome visitors, and I hope that that continues. But don't mess with me. If you support what we're doing, that's great, and I will owe you for the rest of time. But if you're going to post something with the intention of damaging our business here, what are you doing? You're damaging the 15 families who rely on employment here. You're damaging the third parties who offer services, who sell us the grain, and we are the biggest consumers of grain in the area. The people who come here to paint, the people who are building our new stables. So you're not actually hurting me, because you can't hurt me, I'm beyond it. But please don't hurt your fellow Moroccans. It's not worth it. We have tried to do what we do with grace and with an ethical background. And during the pandemic, we have saved so many lives. Not only the donkeys, the mules, and the horses, but the families also who depend on them. So nothing is ever going to be completely smooth, but I just wanted to say to you all, again, I can never thank you enough for supporting us. Those of you that do donate, you will be in my heart till the end of time. And if you can encourage other people to just donate the price of a coffee a month, that will be so appreciated, because our costs are absolutely escalating. We have so many ill and sick animals come in, and that incurs huge medical costs, specialist feeding, extra staff. And those of you that do care what we do would not think very much of me if I just put the weak animals down. We will never do that. Life has a value. We care for our elderly relatives, as do the Moroccans here. And they also, the Moroccans who work here, care for our elderly equines. But we all know that comes at a cost. I've quite a lot to tell you about the way forward and what we're going to do next year, but that's enough for today. I'm getting up to 7.5 minutes, and that's probably more than I'm entitled to on YouTube. So thank you for listening, and we'll speak again. Bye for now.